Hello, buddy. This is Purge bringing you guys a replay coaching. This is for the Terrorblade here. Current MMR is 1800. What would you like Purge to focus on is trying to find the right balance of farming and fighting. Only want to focus on my Terrorblade game because they're learning to get better at being the carry. Okay, so we can definitely focus on this. I think we have a backup replay if this doesn't go too long. Terrorblade is maybe not the best hero to focus on this for, I feel like, just because he's a bit of a bizarre carry, I would say. His balance of farming and fighting is usually very pushed towards farming as well as pushing. So his fighting is usually very limited around using Metamorphosis. So that's mostly what we're going to be looking at in terms of your farm levels. In terms of your starting item build, I'm not the biggest fan of the Quelling Blade start personally. The heroes that you're likely going to be against is probably, it should be Nature's Prophet, but at your MMR you're probably against a dual lane. So first mistakes with that is that because of the fact that you are against a potential dual lane, the fact that you only have one set of regen is a little bit scary. I know Terrorblade does have really good regen of its own, but I'm a little unsure if one tango is going to cut it. I find that you can get a Quelling Blade later in lane. Sometimes you might lose some last hits because of it, but even in against a dual lane, I just favor personally getting two sets of regen, or ideally getting maybe even a fast Poor Man's Shield can sometimes be better. Against these heroes, I think that's pretty valuable. You're not a very good hero against Legion Commander. Legion's first skill does bonus damage to illusions, so I'd say he's quite good against you. Okay, interesting that you're pushing. If you do this in the right way, this can be completely justified, but we'll see if that's what ends up happening. So far, your last hitting has been more than good. And looks like they're just getting into lane really quick. If this guy did a side pull just now, we're good. But other than that, you've made a huge mistake. Alright, and you have officially made a huge mistake. Okay, you can't do what you just did. You already messed up. You can't just go to a lane and push it really fast, because the reason is because what it does is it messes up the creep equilibrium. And by pushing, it guarantees that the offlaner gets experience. And normally what you want to do is you want to keep the creep wave like here-ish. That way, if the creep wave stays here and the offlaner comes the lane, then it's harder for him to get experience. But now because you push the lane, you've guaranteed pretty much that this Pudge is going to be able to get like level 3 out of this, most likely. I mean, you still got most of the last hits, which is really good. But you also gave this guy way too much. So let's look at his experience level. He just hit 2 now. And now he's going to hit 3. Let's just accelerate this a bit, then we'll go back. Alright, pretty much level 3 you just gave this guy, and you gave him some last hits as well. You got boots, you pushed the wave, eventually your ally did a pull, but this is what should have happened almost immediately. So the only way that this becomes okay is if what you do is while you're killing this, you also prep a pull. And you could actually do this with your Terrorblade illusion, that'd be a cool way to do it. Spawn an illusion using this, get the last hit with your hero, and then you start a pull at about 53. You can let these creeps go past, I think this is not a big deal, but if you're going to push this early, you have to instantly do a side pull, and that's the easiest one to do. If you do a small camp, and then you do a pull through, that's kind of out of favor right now from a pull standpoint, because it's harder, and it's more difficult for your carry to take advantage of it. But if instead you push this lane really fast, these 3 creeps continue north and go up here, and in the meantime, in 3 seconds, use this illusion to aggro this large camp, and you pull it diagonally, then this camp will side pull, and it'll stack at the same time, which means that this whole creep wave will die. So you got yourself farm, and that's good and all, but this should have been a side pull right now, and this creep wave should be denied right here. But instead you push the wave, you got all the gold and the experience, but now you've also guaranteed that your Shadow Shaman doesn't do anything. I mean, he should have pulled, this guy's doing a bad job, but you got to also look at the lane from what you can do as a carry and whether or not what you're doing is effective. And right now doing this messed things up. It was good for you, but also really hurt things for Shadow Shaman, and also super hurt things, or super benefited Pudge, which is 2 negative things towards you. You hurt your support, and you benefited your offlaner, where instead you could be benefiting yourself and then do a pull. That's super important, because now you have to lane against a level 3 Pudge. That's scary. You bought boots in the meantime, which is fine, whatever. This guy eventually does do a pull, but he just does a solo pull, and this could kill the whole wave. It's possible, because Hellbears are pretty strong as a whole, but it's also a little iffy. They'll probably kill like 1 or 2 of the creeps, and you know, I'm glad that he pulled this. This was overall good for him, but it was also just, I don't know, could have been better. Denied like 3 creeps. It was not bad by all means. It killed the whole wave pretty much. He got a level out of it. This was good. But this should have been a lot easier, and Pudge shouldn't have been able to even get 3 out of it, most likely. So it's overall been okay. The fact that he did the pull here was good. I don't know if you told him to do that or not, but it's just really important that you get the creep equilibrium under control, because this guy could be like level 1, maybe level 2 right now, instead of level 3. That would be a nice advantage. Again, you're pushing really hard, but you're not thinking much about creep equilibrium. Like these range creeps, for example, deny these. Because a range creep is like 50% of the experience in a wave. So if you deny this and then Pudge isn't here when the wave pushes under, then Pudge gets much less experience. If your goal is just to do as much damage as possible to the tower, then I guess you're pushing in some slight way makes sense. But the problem is you're doing it a little bit too early. If you waited to push until you were like level 3, for example, then everything gets better and is a lot more effective. But you're doing this too early, especially the first push. And that's because creeps, basically to take a tower, the only way to do a lot of damage to the tower is if there's no creeps there. So the only way to do this fast is if you can either keep your creeps alive, or you can kill their creeps so fast, like with an axe or something, that you kill their creeps and then instantly it's just your creeps versus the tower. Then the tower takes a lot of damage. But by pushing it in instantly, this tower took 18 points of damage, and Pudge got 2 levels out of it, basically. And you did no damage to the tower. So really all you did was give Pudge a safe place to get last hits and get experience. This push is a bit better because the Pudge has left, and I think your ward actually did spot that he was gone. But I feel like you're doing this pushing just because you don't understand. I feel like you're doing this, you just don't understand it. And you're just doing it because you think it's a good thing to do, is my issue with the way that you're playing this. You're last hitting this pretty well, but you're just... The death push is not effective for you, and it could be better for both you and the Shadow Shaman. Again, it should be a mix of you pulling and pushing. If you do both, then everything becomes easier. You can always keep the creep wave either here or over here, and by doing that, you still get just as much farm. And then when there's downtime like this, like there's actually nothing for you to do right now other than hit this tower. You could hit it, but instead you're running over to the large camp. But there's nothing there. That's because it got pulled or whatever. But if there was something here, like if you stacked it every time that you pulled it, then there would still be creeps left over right now, and you could actually pull it. That's another reason why the stack is so important. Because even if you kill one wave or one camp worth of experience, like if Shadow Shaman did that pull and killed the 2 Hellbears, that's great. He still gets 2 Hellbears of experience, but there's still a creep wave left over. So it's just really important that every chance that you get, you stack this camp, because it does give all lanes so much control right now. Alright, and it looks like you're going to do some jungling now. I think you used your Fairy Fire accidentally here. But now you're kind of realizing like, oh shit, I actually can't jungle those just yet. And that's pretty true. You kind of can if you use... Oh, this should have been a kill. 100% you guys can kill this guy. You guys already made a huge mistake here. Let me show the moment that you guys messed up. Right about here. If we go super slow, it's pretty much in range of Shackle. This dual lane is actually very strong because you have insane damage, obviously. And this guy has very good disable, 2.75 seconds of disable. It's a Pudge, but he doesn't have a stout shield, so he's got very low armor and no damage block. You guys can easily kill this guy. If you just Metamorphosis here and this guy's shackled, you get a kill. Metamorphosis, pop a Conjure Image, that'll increase your damage by 40%. This would up it by 40, so you'd do 140 damage per attack between you and your illusion, and you'd probably get to attack him like 5 times, most likely, before he gets back to base. And you'd have a Shackles for 120 and an Shock for 140. 100% this guy dies. And that's kind of how you should be using Metamorphosis in the laning stage, is when you know that this guy is killable. So you guys just mess that up, and it's probably because you're low MMR. You don't understand that you can get the kill. You would have to do careful auto-attacking, and by that I mean you auto-attack, and as soon as your animation goes, you have to move a little bit, and then auto-attack, and move a little bit, and auto-attack. Because you'd probably have to attack him about 5 times with you and your illusion to get this kill. So it would take a little bit of micro, but it's not something that you can it's not like you can't do that. Any player can do it. You just have to know when you have that kind of damage. An auto attack movement like that is super big in all games. In all reality, the Shadow Shaman should minimum be right clicking the Pudge right now. The fact that he's even up this far is crazy. It's actually insane. So this guy's getting level 4. Like, he's actually just getting full levels. You could also be slapping this guy, honestly. I know he's got a regen and all, but this guy's very, very killable between the two of you. But I don't think you guys understand your strengths as heroes. And in the meantime, what Shadow Shaman should be doing, instead of even trying to contest him, is he should go prep for a side pull. And again, this is something that you can do if you want. Pop a Conjure Image, send it over. If it's 53, you should be doing a stack. Because at some point, if you guys had just been stacking this the whole time and using the stack to clear waves, and then at some point you want to clear it, then you easily can. You pop Metamorphosis, you pop a Conjure Image, you do another one 16 seconds later, and then all of a sudden you eventually clear this large camp, because there would be like a 3 or 4 stack here. You can easily clear this. Especially with treads, absolutely easy for you to do. I would, and this is the next issue, because you're not even going on this Pudge, he keeps going for these kinds of kills. And again, it should have been a kill. As soon as he got out of rot range, he should turn around and fight it. You got a Prophet down here, you should really be reacting this, but you're not. I don't know if you just didn't see. Let's take a look. I feel like you just didn't see, and I feel like your ally didn't ping you either. Dragonlance next. Good build. Like, whenever your allies even get in trouble, you need to get in there and fight. But again, you're not understanding the strength of your hero. But look at what you've got. You have 12 armor. That's insane. Insane amounts of HP. If we go to free camera, I'm sure it's something huge. 43% physical. So of all the damage you take, whatever ends up hitting you does 43. You remove 43% of that. Whereas on Purge, he's got 10% physical resistance. That's almost nothing. So you have like a 33% advantage. And if he hits you, you have a 50% chance to damage block 16. So already he's hitting for 50. It's more like hitting for 58 on average. And then of that, you get damage block. So basically you're hitting him for like 60 damage, and he's hitting you for like 35 on average. So you're hitting about twice as hard as him, and you can conjure an image to hit an extra 40%, and you can metamorphosis if you really want to for 40 bonus damage. Like, this guy does not beat you in a 1v1. The only way he does is if he lands hook damage on you, which does 180 pure damage, which would take out a huge chunk. But as soon as he hooks aggressively, and this guy's in trouble, as a carry, you need to start right-clicking that guy. Because bad players that don't understand threat levels will, sometimes you'll outplay him, and yeah, maybe it's a little scary or something, but if this guy just casts one of his spells and you commit your metamorphosis, you're going to kill Pudge every time. The only way that you could lose out here is if this guy just runs and never casts shackles, and then the Pudge runs away. That would be the biggest way to lose out here, but you're not playing aggressive enough for how you should be playing. Okay, now you actually did eventually go for this, which is good. You finally got a kill, but again, you could have used this so much earlier, in my opinion. Like, you already had like 2 opportunities to use this, and if you were stacking the large camp in the meantime, you would have been getting advantage there. And I also super disagree with you putting a 3rd skill point in Metamorphosis. I think this build, basically you skilled it up after you used it, so it's already off cooldown in 140 seconds. The cooldown is massive, right? So you being able to use it again is likely not going to happen for a while. If you instead put a 3rd skill point in Conjure Image, at least for now, you're going to do 10% more damage with your illusions. I think that's better, in my opinion, and worth it, and justifies the 3rd skill point, because you're about to use Conjure Image probably if you pressure this tower. You did, and now that 3rd skill point that you just got is completely wasted sitting in Metamorphosis until you use it the next time. So in some ways it's like you didn't even hit level 5. That's a big enough impact that I think it super justifies playing around the game like that, because Terrorblade's skill build is already pretty straightforward. Why are you running back? I am so confused. I have no idea why you ran back, honestly. You have a full creep wave with 2 range creeps and a catapult hitting the tower. You've got Metamorphosis active. You have what looks like 2 Conjure Image illusions alive. 1, I guess. But the issue is that you're probably just scared because of Shadow Shaman, but you're not understanding the strength of Pudge. You still aren't. He's level 4. He has maximum 180 meat hook damage. When he uses Rot, it damages you, but it also damages Pudge, which means that effectively all Rot does is makes it so you can't run away as easily. If you just stand still and hit Pudge, he will do just as much damage to himself with Rot as he will do to you. He does have Flesh Heap, which slightly decreases the damage he takes, but it doesn't increase his HP because he doesn't have any kills or assists yet. So really, if you just don't get hooked, you easily kill this guy in a 1v1. It's not even close, as long as you're not taking creep or tower damage. You should be up here right now, slapping this tower with Metamorphosis and your extra illusion. But instead, like, look at this. This is the guy tanking the creep wave. If you were just sitting here the whole time and he came up and fought you, you would have had 2 range creeps, a catapult, and maybe some melee creeps also hitting him. And he's already down to 500 HP, and that was like 3 auto attacks. So you fighting that guy 1v1, easy kill. You're not understanding the strength of your hero, and this could have been easily a good 300, 400 damage done to this tower. So you're already kind of dropping the ball a little bit on how you should be playing Terrorblade. Alright, so you've lost Metamorphosis now. You're on cooldown for a long time. He broke your Clarity Potion. Another thing you're really missing is a Ring of Basilius. You have no way to get your mana pool up. You're only getting 1 mana per second, but Terrorblade needs some way to get more mana. Again, this Pudge is almost level 6 now, and it's 5 minutes in. He should not have this many levels. This is obscene. Considering the fact that your guys' dual lane is far stronger than him, you guys aren't understanding the strength of Pudge. You're scared. It's like the low MMR effect. Pudge and Ricky, they can be very good heroes, but in low-level pubs, these guys are not playing him right. You're not abusing him in the way that you should abuse him, which is the fact that this guy doesn't have boots, that his HP, his HP is good, but his base armor is really deadly low. So really the only advantage Pudge has against you guys in the laning stage is the potential to hook you under a tower. That's literally it. If you just fight him on even ground and he doesn't hook you, which you should be able to avoid in most cases because you have illusions that can block it, he should never actually get a kill on you. And if both of you are there, you guys can kill him every single time. So this guy choked by being scared all the time and not zoning, and you choked by pushing the lane constantly. That gave him levels to make him even more scary. But if you did the pulling properly, this guy would still be level 2, and then there's actually no way that he even gets close to killing you guys. It wouldn't even be vaguely close. So again, about the mana thing, you need Ring of Basilius because it gives you 0.65 mana per second, and you don't have that right now because you opted for Quelling Blade at start. Instead of getting Quelling Blade, if you got a Ring of Protection, for example, then you'd have +2 armor, and you'd also have the ability to buy Ring of Basilius from the side shop. And by doing that, then you get 0.65 mana per second, you also get +7 damage. And then when you push into towers like this, all of the creeps have 2 armor, and that's extremely important in the early game. Because, like I said, Terrorblade's play is a mix of pushing as well as farming. You're doing fine on the farming part, but you're not even that far ahead, really. This is an AFK Jungle Legion commander, and he's got equal last hits in you. His net worth's not going to be the same, because you're getting lane creeps and he's hitting neutrals. Maybe a better comparison is going to be like the Death Prophet, for example, who's got 30 in the mid lane. But you could be way higher than this. The safe lane carry actually has a big advantage in this because you're close to creep camps. And because you can take the wave so fast, usually uncontested, and then immediately go do a jungle. But you haven't mixed in that jungling very well, and it's also been to the detriment of your Shadow Shaman. With the exception of that one large camp pull, you guys haven't utilized these resources or these resources at all. And that's mostly Shadow Shaman's fault, but it's also yours, like I said, because you could have done side pulls the whole time. And usually what happens is Terrorblades hit this point about here, where you leave your support in the lane and you just AFK jungle. Because let's say you use your Metamorphosis like a minute earlier to kill the Pudge. It would be off cooldown right now, and now would be a good time if this was like a 3 stack or a 4 stack for you just to use Metamorphosis, double conjure image, and just clear the wave by yourself. Whenever I've watched Eternal Envy play Terrorblade, usually there's like one time that he'll hit the jungle and use Metamorphosis just to farm faster, because it gives you so much plus damage. And in cases like that, more points in Metamorphosis are maybe better. Kind of hard to say, but at least one usage of Metamorphosis in the jungle is really recommended here. Most Terrorblades will not get Sunder at level 6. It's generally seen as a mistake because you usually don't use it, and your mana pool is so low that you don't really have the mana to cast it in the first place. So just because you should be using Conjure Image and Metamorphosis a lot, and especially for you not going to Ring of Basilius, I think this is a huge mistake for you to get Sunder at level 6. Like, running your illusion to even hit the tower, that's not very worth it either. You could use that illusion to stack, or you could use it to jungle. You and the illusion can just sit there and attack neutrals in jungle. Any of that is a much bigger benefit than the way you're using your hero. The way you're playing your hero is basically you're going to lane and you're getting last hits, and that's all you're doing. You could be literally any other hero pretty much. Any other melee hero could do just what you have done so far. You're not actually using your hero's skills to give yourself an advantage, and you have to remember that when you think about how the game gets buffed and nerfed. The game gets buffed and nerfed because of how pro players, the best players, abuse your hero's skills to do good things. And right now you haven't done that at all. The only benefit you've gotten, unnaturally high armor, very good animation, very good base movement speed. And you've occasionally spawned Conjure Image so that you can kill lane creeps faster. But like, again, fighting this guy, completely possible. He's level 6 here, he doesn't have boots. If you actually transform, you're still faster than him, even though you lose how much movement speed, 25? You're still much faster than this guy. And again, you're sending the illusions in to slap like 3 times, but your illusion there had like 15 seconds of duration left. You could have kept that to like try to last hit creep waves. You could run to the jungle and AFK with your hero, then send an illusion over to the creep wave to try to get last hits. There's like stuff like that you can do that you're absolutely not even touching. And it's really limiting the advantage that you get out of the lane. You're basically just sharing this lane consistently with this Pudge. Look how much damage this is. Like, you actually just did half of his HP in 2 rounds of auto attacks. That's it. And again, this was him casting Shackles. If you hadn't gone in there, if he hadn't casted Shackles, you never would have killed Pudge. But you could have been doing this the whole laning stage. You had tangos left over. You had level advantage, kind of. You definitely had gold advantage. Like, you could have been slapping this guy constantly and bullying him out of lane, but he's still gotten level 7, which means now he can basically leave the lane and go other places and get a lot of shit done. Get a lot of things done. So it's good that you're pressuring the tower finally. This is something that should have happened earlier in more efficient ways. You will get the last hit, which is good, but I definitely think you could have pressured the Pudge a little better, and you could have done a bit of jungling in the jungle, most likely. Alright, Dragonlance is finished. You should 100% hit up the jungle right now. Pudge is already up pretty far. I would maybe pressure up this lane a little to farm more, but look at all the standing around you. As soon as that was dead, you could have gone back to jungle, and this is the next big thing where you're kind of lacking in terms of efficiency, because it's really important that you're efficient in terms of how you spend your time when you're playing carry. Okay, walking over, buy the Dragonlance, and then instantly upon buying that, Where are you going next? Where are you farming? Make your decision, basically. You see Pudge is here. There's no creep wave. You can look at the timer and say 7 seconds ago, the creep wave spawned here, so it will eventually meet here. If you plan that ahead, you could go up here, pressure the lane a little bit. Maybe if Pudge goes into melee range, you start slapping him a bit. Or you can instantly run into the jungle. I think you were looking at this, I'm guessing. Therefore, you're unsure. But look at all this standing around. You could have been hitting creeps for like 5 seconds. And now you're running over here. Why are you running over here for arcanes or something? What's the point? So he can give you a clarity potion. Who gives a shit, man? Solve this problem with a ring of Basilius, for example. Like, you just spent 15 seconds thinking, I'm low on mana. How do I solve this problem? Oh, I know. I'll walk over to my support so that he can spend 50 gold to give me a clarity potion. When instead, you should use all this gold that you've gained through the start of the game to solve your own mana problems. Because now, this guy is going to have more mana problems. He's actually missing enough mana to use a clarity potion. And he can't use it on himself now because he had to use it on you because your build was not efficient. Because you don't have a Basilius set. And now you're starting to build it, but we're 8 minutes into the game. If you finished your Basilius at the first minute, you get plus 7 damage, which is going to be not as much damage as Quelling Blade, obviously, but definitely help you last hit. And you'd be getting 0.65 mana per second for 8 minutes. 8 times 60 is a lot. I'm going to do the calculator because I'm scared about my math skills right now. 8 times 60, how many seconds is that? 480 seconds. And if we multiply that by 0.65, that's a total of 312 mana. If you had Basilius at the start of the game, you'd have an extra 312 mana. That means your mana would be full right now. He also gave you another clarity potion earlier, which I won't discount, but your mana could be full right now. And then you would just hit up the jungle and start jungling. The other mistake is that a lot of times you're also casting Conjure Image on agility treads, which I think is generally a mistake. Yes, when you summon with agility treads, your illusions have 9 more agility, but you only get 40% of that anyway. So I think it's better to go to int treads to cast Conjure Image in the early game. That way you can create illusions, and then what you do is you tank with your hero, since you have a stout shield and high base armor and high regen, and then you let your images sit behind you damaging. But instead, what you're doing is you're only relying on the lane, and that's a huge mistake on any melee hero that buys Quelling Blade. Huge mistake, because you can jungle insanely fast. We're 8 minutes in, you haven't even touched the neutrals yet. You could have done this right now, and you would have lost maximum 200 HP, I feel like, between this illusion and yourself and this tango. You would have lost almost nothing. So yeah, you're going to lane now, you got a clarity potion, that's cool and all. And maybe you can pressure the tower or something like that. And you're going the right skill build, but you're also kind of in the wrong place on the map. Like, I think you could still be pressuring this. Let's watch this from your team's perspective. Alright, if we look on the map right now, it's daytime. You can see 4 heroes, which is an insane amount. You can see all these heroes mid. Here's Pudge. You can even check, see he has a TP. That's a little scary or whatever. You can see Dragon Knight. He doesn't have a TP. He's level 7. He can't gank you. You can also see this enemy hero, or this hero in the enemy jungle. This is Legion Commander. Here he is. He doesn't have a TP. Easy kill. And you can see Drow Ranger up here, no TP. That means if you run to the bot lane right now and you slap this tower, there's almost nothing that can stop you. The only hero that you can't see right now is Nature's Prophet. So you should look on the map and say like, hey, I can see 4 heroes. That means, and because I've got my creep wave hitting this tower now, I can turn my Basilius on, which you don't have it, you son of a bitch. And you can just hit this tower. Just come up here and hit the tower. This tower can be so low. You could actually just kill this tower at 9 minutes because they don't defend it. And if you just do that, if you see all these heroes busy over here, just sitting around, all you have to do is play it a little safe. If you had Basie, your mana would be higher, obviously. But hopefully keep mana for Sunder if things get really scary. And get your Quelling Blade ready in case you get ganked by Prophet so you can cut the tree. But just sit over here with your Basilius, pull the creep wave past, kill the creep wave really rapidly, and then again go back to wailing on the tower. But instead, you're feeling scared, so you run back. Did you stack this? If you stack this, I'm going to maybe say this is better, but it looks like the Shadow Shaman actually stacked this one. So good for him. Should have been done a long time ago, but again, you're standing around and you're scared. And you don't need to be scared. You're basically only feeling like the place you can farm is lane creeps, and that's absolutely false. Like, you could probably have like 70 to 80 last hits right now. You're definitely last hitting above your MMR, but you could also have way more in terms of resources. And now if someone's TPing, okay, now you leave the lane. Alright, maybe not safe to lane against this guy because he could cast duel on you if he was smart enough to actually get his ultimate at level 6. But you're playing so scared of everybody. You got to understand where your levels are, where your strength levels are. This guy without boots, okay, he can duel you. That's pretty terrifying. And maybe Pudge shows up and does pure damage and magic damage and you go down. Or maybe Dragon Knight rotates. Or maybe Prophet lands a good ultimate or something. But you are not abusing the map well enough. This whole jungle, you could have farmed this like 3 times by now, I feel like. especially with Quelling Blade and Dragon Lance. Very stat efficient items, gives you HP, all that good stuff. This is something Shadow Shaman should have been doing from the start and all, but again, you're only feeling safe about the lane, and that's absolutely not true. As soon as the wave gets in a place that you don't feel comfortable with, just start hitting the jungle. Or hit the jungle until the wave pushes back and then farm the lane again. That's how you should play your early game. It's kind of like, it's the same as how you started the lane. You started pushing, and as soon as it was a little bit scary, you sat back and stood around. But instead, during those downtimes, you could hit the jungle. Like, if you guys didn't even pull it all in the early game and you pushed the lane and then farm this large camp, that would have been infinitely better than how you played this game. Because every single time that happened, you would add an extra large camp, which is gold and levels. Because right now, your net worth is ahead, but it's only ahead because your opponents are terrible at farming. And I believe the Drow Ranger has been pressured. No, he hasn't. He's just terrible at farming. That's why you're ahead right now. But if you did this and jungled, you'd have like 6k net worth right now, minimum. Even this right now. There's a pull. Go kill this. It's a stacked pull. You could go hit that up. Looks like you bought Aquila here, so you're a little busy, but doesn't really matter. You should be able to shop while you farm, for example. Like, go start farming this, and then buy it while your hero's auto-attacking. Alright, wave's dead. You'll farm the next one too. Finishing the Aquila. Another item that would be really good that you can pick up actually is a raindrop. I think it's a great raindrop game because you're kind of heavy into farming right now. If you have Aquila, you don't have a ton of space because Stout Shield's kind of important here for jungling at least. For laning, it's not very important, but if you had raindrop on top of this, they don't have that many nuke sources. So for example, if you got hit by overwhelming odds, or I don't know, maybe Dismember would do it, 60 damage, it would do like... It would block like the first tick of Dismember, it's okay. But blocking like Breathe Fire or Wrath of Nature while giving you an extra 0.85 mana per second, that could be really useful as well. Could justify you jungling even more using Conjure Image. Again, I would recommend maxing Conjure first. You've only used Metamorphosis twice, and I think the 4th skill point of this hasn't actually paid off. It's been 11 minutes and you've almost entirely just been jungling here. So I think you dropped the ball on that a little bit. Again, you just summoned an illusion and now it's dead. That was a way to do 50% more damage than what you have for agility items. That illusion right there did 50 damage. It's a 50% damage increase and you fed it to a tower. That's such a big mistake. It's good the Shadow Shaman has 6 and all, and he's dropping wards on tower. That's good. But honestly, you could have killed this tower at like 9 minutes in my opinion. And then you could have farmed through the jungle and then maybe pressured down mid with wards instead. I think that would have been a lot better. This is going to die. But I think it's been done a little bit too late. Alright, please start jungling. Okay, there we go. I think you're trying to stack this, but you're messing it up or something. Again, don't think of these as the thing that's tanking. You should be the one that's tanking, in my opinion. You should almost always be the one that's tanking. Let those tank until they're about to die, then back them off, and then let your hero tank instead. This is a little bit better. Let this tank, but don't let it die. Okay, cool, you killed it. Regenning up and all. I don't know why you're running over here. Maybe to fight under the tower, I'm guessing. Maybe you're going to try doing like a Sunder fight or something. Oh, you should definitely get in here. 100% you should get in here. This would be a good time to Sunder, I believe. I would run back in if I were you. Oh wait, you don't have mana. Don't forget you can also tread switch to int if you're low on mana. It's a really important habit to get into if you're playing Terrorblade. Same thing here, don't let this guy tank, it's not really that needed. I don't know why you're running back to base, there's actually no reason. You still have Metamorphosis, you actually still have half of it left. You could easily jungle with this. But you're not, because you're getting scared. But when you run these away, they're weak. Like, this isn't even going to kill anything, I don't think. You got one little creep. But instead, you could have just hit up camps on the way. Farm this camp, move here, farm this camp, move here, farm this camp, and then run home. And it's still a very similar path to you getting back to the base. So you run this way and run left and farm this, and then you farm this, and then you're back. Instead, you just ran bottom and you ran this way. It's about the same distance, but you're getting gold on the way there. So all of that walking you just did was kind of just wasted. You also sold your Quelling Blade. This is a huge mistake. This should have been a Stout Shield sell. You actually take a very long time to sell Quelling on Terrorblade because it makes your illusions do 40% more damage, which is really one of the bigger accelerators. This is kind of like selling your Midas after you use it 3 times is what you just did. It's really detrimental to sell it that early. Really recommend that you keep it longer. It's much better than Stout Shield if you're decent at managing your HP, which you should be able to do. All right, let's go back to watching your perspective here. So you ran all the way middle. You're kind of scared to move in, but I don't think you really need to be. You don't have your Metamorphosis, obviously, but minimum what you should do is pull the creep wave past the tower. See, this is just not very safe for you to do, because you don't have Metamorphosis. Yes, you can sunder somebody, but that's pretty much it. You just super endangered yourself. And again, don't just force. Oh, this is bad. You need to sunder this guy or you die. Okay, you're dead. That was a good try by Nyx to save you, but it didn't quite work out. See, if you didn't take so much damage here in the first place, getting hooked, you would have easily sundered in time. So next time, spawn an illusion, run it up to the creep wave, so the creep aggroes your illusion, pull the creep waves past tower, and then farm them here, is what you should have done. Because now all of your early game is kind of just been you pretty much just like channeling in your opponents. If you have the highest net worth and then you start dying, it's a big mistake. But at the very least, what you should be doing is maximizing your farm. Alright, you TP into the bot lane now. Make sure you conjure an image as soon as you TP in, because you still have fountain regen. Now when you conjure an image, you're not going to be able to make the mana up. You just lost 70 of it. But instead, if you TP'd under tower, then activated it, you would have gotten at least like 50 of that mana back, in my opinion. Alright, pushing the wave now. Again, if you had Quelling Blade, you'd be doing 40% more damage. You shouldn't be scared of this guy at all. You've got a... Oh, I'm sorry, you sold your Quelling Blade. Okay, you should be scared of him. That's another reason to keep Quelling. As soon as you farm that wave, hit up the large camp. The way you're playing this laning stage is just super detrimental. Also running the illusion directly on him I think is a little bit weird, but that was okay, I guess. The reason that running your illusion against him was kind of a mistake is because it could have scared him. If he took that as an act of aggression and he got scared, he would have backed off, and then the Shadow Shaman might not have been able to get in range in time. It worked out, but it was dangerous. You got a little bit of damage, but really the most important thing was him casting Shackles, because as soon as Shackles is cast on that Prophet, the Prophet dies. 100%. Alright, you almost got Manta. Going for the courier I think is a good idea. And the courier still came to you, which was very nice. Should be a Dragonite kill. You're gonna have to sunder here. I think you're going to die, I'm expecting. Alright, you super messed up there. I don't know if you weren't looking at your stun bar or not, but you easily could have silenced. I like that you juked on the tree. But right about now is when you needed to turn around, because you know you're slowed. And by you moving your camera down and trying to click to victory isn't going to save you. Basically right now, as soon as you juked here, you should have turned your hero around and then cast it. Because you could take one extra attack, but you couldn't take two. You 100% could have sundered the Dragonite here. He probably would have died as you auto-attacked him afterwards, especially after you cast Conjure Image after you sunder. And then you get at least another kill. And it's still going to work out really well for you guys, but at least you would have had an extra kill before you died. Which means you could have had Manta finished, and with Manta even more advantage. Like, that was a 4 for 3, that could have been like a one-sided fight actually if that guy committed his TP. So, you also bought out before you died, which is fine, I guess. Really nice dodge by him. I would like to see you come top, actually. I guess you don't have Metamorphosis, but... And now's kind of the game. And now that you're slightly behind, I mean, you're still way ahead in net worth, but I think the way that you've been playing is as such that I might as well talk about what you can do if you don't feel as strong. And what you should be doing instead probably is pushing lanes out constantly, which is kind of what you're doing right now. Manta style would be great for that, but of course you died a couple times, and that's now put you in this bad situation where you're ahead, but you're not like amazingly ahead. I really don't like the fact you ran this way. I think you should have farmed the creep wave and then cut back and then gone into jungle. Because by running this way, the tower saw you, so now they know you're in the jungle. Whereas if you back up and then swing in, the only way they know you're in the jungle is if they saw you with a ward over here, and that's pretty much it. But now they know you're in here. You just saw a pink hero here, which means that you probably shouldn't continue pressuring. This is a good time to jungle. I like this. Again, you should have been doing this from the start of the game. If you had Quelling Blade still, you could cut this tree and run straight to this camp rather than walking all the way around. That wastes a second and reduces your farming speed by a little. Now you're finally jungling, but again, you should have been doing this at the very start. Going to the bottom here is alright, considering it's good farm. Don't miss any last hits though, you just lost 2. There's no reason for you to kill the range creeps that fast. And you shouldn't be missing any of these, to be honest. If you had Quelling Blade, honestly I don't think you would. So you've kind of gimped yourself a little bit here. You should have moved that out a little bit faster for scouting purposes, most likely. I don't know if you have hotkeys or not, but for me, for example, if we go to my settings, oops, there it was. Control groups down here are really important. I only have 3. I have my main unit, which is 1. I have 2, and I have 3, and then I use F1, I believe, for all units. So I think 3 control groups past your main hero I think is pretty important, so I might try to work out a solution to that in the future. But I personally hotkey all of my Conjure Image illusions to 2. To do that, you just select them, hold control, and press 2. And then Dota 2 will remember that that's what you're setting to. So basically every time that you wanted, rather than clicking on your map to find him, then select dragging him, and then moving your camera here and right clicking, I could have been looking at my hero, I could press 2, and I could press A and left click this camp, and then your hero would run, your illusion would run to this area, and the auto attack whatever was there. And that could have been done better. By you at least. If you had your Manta like 3 minutes earlier or so, you could split push and farm a lot faster. Like basically delaying your Manta just made everything harder. You should keep your illusion with you. There's an invis hero on you right now, of course. But again, same thing. You had to move your camera, select your hero, and then go do it. Sunder this instantly. Okay, good. Alright, you're doing this right. Perfect. Luckily, he's far enough behind you here. You're behind Helm the Dominator. This is a huge mistake. This is not a Terrorblade item build at all. You probably feel like you want it because of, I don't know, they have a lot of right-click heroes, and it keeps your HP up, but you really don't need it to keep your HP up because you shouldn't really be taking very much damage. Like your HP regen's very good. You've got Sunder. I also think it's kind of maybe a mistake to not get 2 skill points in this. It's kind of up to you, but considering you've been low on mana and you never tread switch, I think I would still justify getting a 2nd point in this. This is good. You almost backed out. You almost got there in time. I think you're going back to heal to get mana here. If you had tread switch, by the way, all leading up into this, your mana pool could be about 50% instead of down here, and then you could have justified TPing to the tier 2. So this is a fight that you're going to miss because you haven't been mana efficient. I think that's a very real situation here. Helm of the Dominator is generally overvalued by lower level players just because they think, oh, it's got lifesteal and it's got armor and it's got damage, and I kind of agree, but that all sounds super appealing, but it doesn't really give you anything super good. The lifesteal can be very useful. Helm of the Dominator is very nice to have on some heroes that need it to jungle, but you don't really need it to jungle because you have illusions that are most of the time going to do the farming for you. Like, for example, what you should do right now is you should probably use your Manta style, send those illusions to jungle here, and then you should go like run mid and push the lane out with your hero. Because I don't know, maybe. Alright, so there's probably a fight that's gonna happen. You're probably gonna take the tier 2. Maybe it's not good to use Manta. But if you make illusions of yourself, including with your Conjure Image, these things don't need lifesteal. Like, Helm of the Dominator doesn't do anything for your illusions, actually. It actually does nothing. None of these stats go towards your illusion. It doesn't get plus 20 damage. They do not get plus 5 armor. They don't even get plus 3 HP regen. They don't get the lifesteal. That's 1,800 gold that you're spending. That doesn't make your illusions any better. It only makes you better, slightly. 5 armor. Look at your armor right now, though. If we remove 5 for the Helm of Iron Will that you would have 25 armor. Is 5 more armor really going to make that much of a difference? It's kind of important in this game because they have so much physical, but if this is a normal game with it where the damage is more spread, you're more likely to die to magic nukes than you are die to just right clicks. So the armor is not very good. The plus 20 damage, it's kind of irrelevant because you can instead buy an agility item that makes all of your illusions do more. Because you already bought Manta style, you've already got 4 points in Conjure Image. Your illusions are strong. You should get agility items to make your illusions stronger, or HP items to make your hero stronger. Lifesteal is not what you need here. You'd be better off buying like a heart, in my opinion, than buying Helm of the Dominator. It's just not very needed. And like I said, the lifesteal is not really needed either, because you could instead be pushing lanes out with your illusions, your Conjure Image. Like every 16 seconds, you should use this skill, in my opinion. And now look at what you just did. You ran all the way to base after TPing to get mana, and now you ran all the way mid and realized nothing's happening. And you want to run top, but you realize you couldn't TP there. And now you want to run bottom, and now you've spent like 30 seconds running around when you instead could have just respawned and gone straight to a large camp to hit it up, and then farmed a medium camp. And while you're farming those, then understand and try to figure out where you want to go. Or you could cast Conjure Image right now. Oh shit, somebody just got ganked over here. Spawn a Conjure Image, run it up here, see if they're standing here. Because now you don't feel comfortable farming these jungle camps because there was just a Purge there and somebody killed my ally. But now you're not farming, and you haven't been farming for over a minute. That should never happen when you're playing Terrorblade. You should never stop farming. Your Manta's been off cooldown this whole time. You could have used this and farmed a jungle camp with it because your illusions are stupidly strong, especially with Quelling Blade. But you still haven't. You're still running around. It's been so long, and you are still running around. It's been like 2 minutes since you got a creep kill. You've been like inches away from Helm of the Dominator this whole time. And finally, you're taking lane creeps. You're way too scared of jungles, in my opinion. You can get vision from things like that, from your illusions. You can push waves safely with your illusions, because if your illusions get ganked, it literally doesn't matter. What you should do 100% right now, just use Manta and push down the lane. You don't even need to be here. You're pretty much only using Manta, probably when you're expecting a silence, I'm guessing. But you really should just be using it very, very often. Just because it lets you farm. I don't know why they didn't defend you here. This is, you're staying like 3 waves too long here, honestly. You shouldn't have even pressured this with your hero. I think that was way too dangerous, considering how many heroes. You're going to get dueled now and probably die. The lifesteal kind of helps. Actually, you don't have lifesteal, but Helm of Iron. Maybe this is why you bought lifesteal instead. But again, like, you're gold right now, by the way. Oh, I'm sorry, you bought more mass. You got like 900 gold out of that overall. But I mean, it's been like 4 minutes since you TP'd back to get mana, and you've only gained about 1,000 gold. That's pretty bad. What was that, Yules? That was not a good Yules. So you definitely push way too long. Like, pressuring around towers is just overall very dangerous. You have to be pretty careful about when you choose to do it. It's a nice little gank setup by them. Alright, you got Helm of the Dominator now. I mean, another thing that would keep you alive, though, is just like Skadi. If you bought Skadi here instead of Helm of the Dominator, and you finish it fast, like if you're farming as fast as you should be farming, you should have Skadi completed right now, in my opinion. And with Skadi, every time that the Legion tries to kill you, you're always going to be slowing him by a huge amount of movement speed, especially because you're melee. So it would have removed or lowered attack speed by 45, which is huge. It's a huge reduction. Alright, looks like you're walking to the top lane. If you had Terrorblade, oh, you actually got out of it. That was kind of nice. I kind of feel like you should use Metamorphosis here. I'm not really sure why you haven't. I'm going to go back and let's see how you're controlling your illusions, because I feel like you're not doing a very good job. See if we can tell. Your camera positioning here has been weak. Let's see how you're moving. This is a really big deal for gathering info, understanding what you should be doing. You're walking to the top lane, but you're just seeing heroes on the map. You're not actually moving with your hero, and that's a mistake. Or moving with your camera. I think you need to, number one, you need to increase your scroll speed. Right here. Up this massively. This needs to go way up. I think there's another one that it shows acceleration. This, I like having this at 50, but you 100% need to have your camera speed way up. Maybe not this high, but I feel like your camera speed's like down here or something. The amount of camera that moves when you edge pan is very small. That one looked okay. And this part is fine. But right here, when this guy gets ultied, it took you forever even to look up here. And I feel like that's a huge mistake. So it looks like you do have some hotkeys here. I think you should have ran after the Purge. This is a big mistake for you to run back. You're way too focused on farm here. If you would have followed, and you had this many illusions up, you could just Metamorphosis and kill one of these guys minimum. Like, you very likely could have saved the Nyx Assassin there. You should have chased. You got way too focused on creeps. Hero kills are worth so much more. Like, you maybe got 300 gold from those creep kills, but this guy lost gold, and both of those guys got a crap load of gold. You could have gotten like 1,000 by getting a double kill there, I feel like. It looks like you're buying the upgrade. It's okay, I guess. I'm not a huge fan. I wish that you wouldn't be going this just yet. I just think you need more HP here. You basically got to the point where you got Dragonlance, Treads, Manta, and then now you're delaying your survivability item, the Skadi, which gives you 750 HP, by the way. You're delaying it with all of these other items that kind of give you survivability, but not very good survivability. I mean, 1800 gold, that's almost an ultimate orb. This is another ultimate orb, and this is, this recipe is, what, 250? Like, you're looking at a Skadi here, with the exception of a point booster. That's all you're missing in this equation for you to have a Skadi. You pretty much have it right now, but you're delaying it because you bought all these other items that frankly aren't very good at all. They don't actually do anything good. It's pretty much just duel, and even then, who cares? If he duels you once and you die to it, that's fine. But I guarantee that if you have an ultimate orb over a Helm of the Dominator, it's probably quite a bit better anyways against the duel, because it's really about getting your Skadi. Maybe for the period before you get your Skadi, Helm of the Dominator is better, but as soon as you get Skadi, Helm of the Dominator is way worse. And you're not even using neutrals. If you're going to even buy Helm, you should be controlling a neutral creep as well to give you further advantage, like an Alpha Wolf or something that can buff up the damage of you and your stuff even more. So it'd be a great time to pop Manta style and send them down the lane, by the way. Instead, you send one Conjure Image, This is farm. This is 2 illusions on a 30-second cooldown that you're not using. You're using Conjure Image to send 1 illusion down a creep wave. Like right now, you could pop Manta and send it to the small camp and farm the small camp. You should run into this. As soon as this guy misses a hook, you go right in. Oh, he has eggs. But I think you're being way too scared here. Oh, you actually just Sunder killed yourself. I am actually really impressed. I am pretty blown away, actually. Were you even low? I don't even think you were low. I'm pretty sure you just sundered a guy that was dead. Yeah, you actually just sundered a guy that was dead while you were full HP. I am... And then you started attacking the wrong guy as well. You super messed up. That was a pretty big mistake. The fight would have been fine if you didn't do that, because the Prophet would have died, and then I think you got sprouted, I believe, as well. Yeah, Force Staff is not what you need here. You're super itemizing wrong. Dragonlance, Manta, Skadi, and then you get either Butterfly, or maybe then you'll make Hurricane Pike if you really feel like you need it. It can be kind of okay this game. But you've also died like 3 more times than you should. You should also have about 300 last hits right now, and you don't. Like look at this. This guy, this is a Legion commander. He doesn't even have overwhelming odds. This guy literally right-clicked creeps at the same rate that you did in this whole game. He killed just as many creeps as you have in this whole game. And you can summon illusions. Like, that is super out of whack. Every time that these are off cooldown, you can summon illusions and send them somewhere to farm. And this guy that can only physically hit creeps and doesn't even have a movement speed item has hit more creeps than you because he's been more efficient. And he started in the jungle. Which means that he should have less farm as a whole. I mean, a lot of that's the Quelling Blade, honestly. This could have been a Quelling Blade the whole time, for example. That was a good try on the Sunder. I think that would have been very useful. I would also chase the Pudge. When Nyx has Blink Dagger, he can always catch up. For moments like these where you're like, oh, the wave is pushed out, just summon Manta and send illusions over there and keep your hero with the main ones. That would be better. Because again, your allies just died because you didn't have everybody in the area. Again, still have Manta still off cooldown. Now you're buying Skadi. It's just so late, man. Could have been bought so much earlier. And instead you're just keeping your HP consistently in a place where it isn't very good. Like, the solution, like, I know your illusions take a ton of damage, but the solution is to buy more HP. Because they already take 4 times. Just get more HP. So the more HP you buy, the harder it is for them to even kill illusions. Like, this guy didn't even get overwhelming odds, the counter to your illusion heroes. So that means their only AoE is Breathe Fire and Wrath of Nature. If you just bought more HP in this fight here, you wouldn't have died. Well, I mean, sundering your opponent obviously hurt a lot, but you probably wouldn't have died. Your illusions would have stayed alive longer. You just would have maximized your DPS, to be honest. Not quite sure why you're waiting in this area, by the way. I actually have no idea why you're waiting in this area at all. You're just spending too much time not farming, I think. This item's really not very useful for you, in my opinion. It's okay, but it kind of does the same thing that a Quelling Blade would do in a lot of ways. Or just having HP would do. You're relying on an item that gives you forced survivability when you can just have 750 HP. Like, again, you're getting scared to push waves. Spawn Manta, send them down. Good farm. Like, if you just sent your illusions forward and hit these creeps, or you did a Conjure Image, and then your hero wrapped around through the side jungle, you could be behind this guy right now. But instead you have to run up at him. Like, the fact that you even got this cast off on this guy is ridiculous. There's no way that this guy should let you come up this far. But the reality is he's got a Shadow Blade, so he feels really comfortable, and he's just going to SB here. Alright, but now he's dead. But the way that you're approaching, you're constantly playing scared and you're not being efficient. Right here, there's an Invoker in the lane. That's fine. Leave the lane, go farm this camp and this camp while the Invoker pushes out the lane. Like, you can do stuff like that overall increases your team's farm, but instead you're trading 1-for-1 here. There's one wave, so you guys split it in half instead. It'd be better for you to take the less farm and semi-equal experience while the Invoker gets more in the lane. But you guys are being too greedy. Like, he's pushing out the same lanes that you're pushing out. And again, standing around, you could go over here and farm. Oh wait, it's actually blocked. I would right now TP mid, is what you should be doing. Could have farmed this wave, and then this wave, and then this wave. But instead, you guys are running to the exact same location. I think you might be smoking. Alright, you're not smoking. Look at this. You guys ran across the whole map so that 3 of you guys can farm literally the same wave. And if you look at your opponent's vision, now they know where 3 of your heroes are. They know you guys aren't roshing. They know you aren't smoke ganking to attack something. You guys just keep showing up 3 heroes in one lane, 3 heroes in another lane. So they just never even have to be scared in the first place. I think you're just scared to be caught is what's happening. But all you guys really need is like... you just need like a gem and you don't have to worry about any of this stuff. Again, pop Manta. Send your illusions to farm a camp. Send them to farm another camp. And I get you guys are getting ready to fight. But again, you're not going to fight for probably 20 seconds. Pop Manta, when you're here, send them to clear this, then send them to clear this. Instantly you have like 200 more 200 more gold than you would before. Manta is a split push and a farming item, and you're not really using it like that. You're using it as a team fight item. Terrorblade's like the one hero where it is better as a team fight item. But for most heroes, it is a split farm item. It's all about being able to push a wave but not having to be there. And to farm a wave but not having to be there. That's the value. I don't know why you haven't ultied yet there. You super lost a lot of opportunity here. Let's see how you approached. Alright, right here. So when you're playing Terrorblade, like your disable is not very good. This is kind of bad. 25% movement speed slow. He is going to, this is his salvation over here. So what you should be doing is staying between him and his salvation. If you instead run behind, then he's already ahead of you and he's closer to the base, which means your ability to even continue attacking him is low. But just by running from here to back here now because you're scared, instead you could have just popped your metamorphosis right away. Like look at the fighting starting. You're now starting to damage this guy. But instead, you could have been sitting here, instantly manted, conjure image, ultied. You could just been wailing into this guy, but you just now get all of your illusions slapping. And you still don't kill him, but you easily could have if you just sat here and instantly went for it. And for heroes that have low disable, you cannot waste precious seconds like that when you're getting kills. You also could have forced yourself forward. You didn't do that though. You still have Helm of the Dominator, again, still worthless as an item. Oh shit, that guy's doing a lot of damage. Definitely sunder this guy. Sunder somebody. Okay, you choked it again. Let's go down here. He's doing a lot of damage. Without illusions, it's kind of hard for you to fight that guy. You should have sundered like this guy and kept fighting. If you sunder Pudge, you attack him like 2 times, he'll die, most likely. Your hero, like, by far does the most physical damage. Pretty much. Whoa. No, get Skadi. Please get Skadi. Please buy Skadi. Did you buy Skadi? Okay, thank God. Really need Skadi. Skadi is like the most core of core items on Terrorblade in the game. Just because of how good the stats are for the hero. That's not good. That's late. Let's see how you approach this fight. Okay, you got Metamorphosis again. Pudge pretty low. Alright, cool, you got him. Alright, this should be a kill, I'm pretty sure. Definitely Manta, there we go. This guy's very difficult to kill. He also does very little damage, which is part of the reason he's difficult to kill. Okay, that one was pretty good. You pretty much transformed and you spent all of your time attacking. Good. Like that. You definitely should have dropped your TP for the Ring of Aquila. I think you sold it, but I think that was a mistake. Ring of Aquila, super value. Tons of agility. 9 agility, gives you HP, gives you armor. All those things are pretty good, I feel. I mean, TP is important, but you were fighting directly outside your base. I think I would have kept the Aquila. And I also think you sold it too early. It's like one of those cases where I think you're relying slightly too much on TP, where it might have been better to be stronger as a hero. There's also 3 dead heroes right now, and you're farming a large camp, and you still haven't used Manta aggressively. You are not going to use this right now. Pop the Manta, send it mid to get farm. It's 3 dead heroes. You also could have ran directly into Roche instead of the place that you guys ran. Illusion Rune, very good. Oh, that's an easy kill. You got your Skadi now too, which is great. Now you have good HP finally. And now your items look okay. Like, honestly, if you went Skadi into, like, Helm of the Dominator or something like that, it would have made a lot more sense to me. But going Skadi after all of this other stuff, it's a big mistake. Guys are truly amazing at stacking abilities on each other. Oh, man. That does so much damage. Does he have lifesteal or something? No, it's just Deso Daedalus, I guess. It hits really hard. Alright, another fight 1. Metamorphosis used. Oh, it's random Purge, I guess. Okay, good. Good kill. Push the lanes out. You guys should be able to take Roche or Rax with this. Just constantly use illusions whenever you can. Going Daedalus now, which I think is... I guess, oh, Drow solar items. They don't really have evasion, I don't think. This guy is Hex, Dagon. I think Butterfly is pretty reasonable here, because this guy didn't go MKB. I would probably do Butterfly, I feel. AC's not terrible. I think it's maybe a little bad. Daedalus is maybe a little bit more straightforward in terms of it being strong for your illusions, since it allows your illusions to crit, but I think I would prefer Butterfly instead. I think you can get away with more defensive rather than raw damage this game. TPing back because they're split pushing. I would go for bottom over mid. You're making a huge mistake here. Make an illusion, run bottom. Because you just lost your Rax. Just instantly should have ran down here. Like, you can fight these guys. Well, maybe not without meta, but I kind of feel like you can actually fight them even without meta. This guy's actually so difficult to kill. Like, this guy actually just, like, split push all of your racks by himself, pretty much, despite them being 4v5. Looks like you bought BOTs now. Again, what has Helm of Dominator done for you all game? This could have been a Mask of Death, honestly, and it would have done pretty much the same. Huge waste of an item all game. And that was a TP slot as well. That could have been Quelling Blade all game. That could have been Ring of Aquila all game. Could have been a lot of stuff here. Good, you got the slow on him. That's good. You can kill him 1v1 now, which is great. Definitely get Butterfly soon. Especially with his buyback. Because now he doesn't have reliable attacking. That guy got messed up. I don't think it's worth killing Observer and Sentry Wards, but good for him. Oh, this game just got so much harder than it has to be. I mean, maybe you could buy Satanic. If you bought Satanic, I think I would be okay with this build, but it should not be your 6th item. But in no way should it be. I think I would probably prefer maybe MKB. Maybe a BKB. You could do a Lincoln's. Actually, a Lincoln's would be great, because then you could ensure that he can't duel you. Although he would have to use Abyssal first, which is still a pretty good thing to stop. That's funny. He panic popped his refresher orb. Whew, that was close. Alright, you guys should be able to win this game now. Bring the illusions. So what's your player perspective here? This is fine. I would have watched your illusions a little bit more than that. Like, for example, you could have sent them to the top lane, and then when these creeps spawn, killed them. That would have been more effective than you sending them mid against all these heroes. Because, like, when you send them mid, if you just run them up mid, at most what they're going to do is, look, you killed maybe 3 treants out of this. Or maybe you auto-attack these heroes a few times. But your illusions auto-attacking Dragon Knight doesn't do shit. Maybe you send them at the melee barracks or the range barracks. If you send them to the range barracks and attacked, I would feel better about it. I'd be like, okay, cool. He at least sent them at the range barracks. But against melee, this is going to regen. But honestly, the best thing you could have done is send them up here, waited till these creeps spawned, and then fought these ones. And just by doing that, it puts more pressure on the game. And that's something you didn't do at all. You never really cut waves. Alright, it's honestly very much a butterfly game because of how many Daedalus everybody has. Looks like you're making Satanic. This is okay, kind of. But it's okay because it kind of protects you against duel. And for that, I think it's alright. Here's another case where you could have been farming more efficient, by the way. Like, this is a creep wave. Send illusions at it. Or you kill it, and then you go from camp to camp. Probably send illusions, and then you farm camp. Because these are less likely for you to get ganked if you're pushing this. Unless they're next level expecting you to send illusions there, blah, blah, blah. Looks like you need a new hotkey button as well, because you mouse click that one. You're also not looking at the fight right now. You know there's a fight, and you're running in there, but you can't even see what's going on. You gotta look to see what's going on. Well, you're high ground now. If you look at the map, there's people behind you, there's people in front of you. Look at these people. Look for vision. This guy's just been standing there. It wasn't even visible. You could be ulting, by the way, and by ulting I mean use Metamorphosis. You don't know how low the Nyx is. Oh, there's Pudge. Now you can see. Like, you gotta move your camera on more. You're really dropping the ball on that. You're using the Force Staff pretty well in that you're getting vision. Or you're getting closer, but still this should have been upgraded later. Just hit the building with your hero. Again, move your camera. Look at your camera right now. Look at all this information that you can see. You don't need any of this shit. Your camera should be right here. This is better. I can see heroes. I can see where my illusions are. I can see where the creeps are. I can see where they're going to come when they approach me. If Pudge tries to hook you, you're going to see it coming because look where your camera is. But if you're looking at this, are you going to see the hook coming? Pudge could be standing right here and you won't see it. Really got to adjust your camera. He's probably going to hook you and you're not going to see it coming. You can see his shadow over here. But I feel like he's going to hook you. You're kind of seeing him a little. But don't look at the tower. You looking at the tower is not important. You need to see where the enemy hero is. I would not go... I would go after the squishier one. You should have been hitting this guy the whole time. God, that guy actually does tornadoes at the worst possible time. Like, you don't even have to run away. You got this guy killed. I get that the tornado is awful and all, but 100% you can kill that guy. Alright, he got him anyways. Hey, you're pushing with illusions. Hooray. You also have 10,000 gold. You could have spent that a long time ago. This, not worth it. Absolutely. You literally have 2 sets of treads, 2 sets of boots, 2,000 gold to TP to a hero. Not even close to worth it. That could be Satanic finished, and you could buy another item after that with selling the treads. Like, that's so much better. Or you could get Satanic finish and then upgrade Boots of Travel maybe, or sell your power treads, buy a Hyperstone for your eventual Moonshard. That would be better too. But this is not a worthy upgrade. The only way this is good is if you need to TP on a hero that's getting ganked, or if somebody is ganking around the map like Nyx Assassin, you want to TP on top of him while he's setting up for a gank. But you haven't really used your BOTs that way at all this game, which I think is mostly as a result of you not looking around the map proactively very much. Again, for items, definitely Butterfly. None of these guys got MKB. They should have bought one to be safe. But you also should have bought one in anticipation. Sell this, buy Butterfly. You're unkillable then. Small little thing that you should be doing that you're messing up. It's really important that you use Manta Style before you use Metamorphosis. And that's because when Manta Style becomes For a melee hero to use Manta Stall, it has a 30-second cooldown, and the illusions do 33%. For a ranged hero, it's a 45-second cooldown, and the illusions do 28%. That's why the most important thing you can do as a Terrorblade is Manta before you Metamorphosis. It's really, really important. Because they will transform. I can't remember if they do or not. If you make melee ones, do they transform? I feel like they don't. Maybe that's just this thing. I can't remember. Maybe they don't. Anyways, this game's over. Let's check it out. As a whole, you played okay, but your early farming was atrocious considering how free your lane was. I think you should have gotten way more jungle, and you didn't you didn't understand the strength of your hero enough. Your hero does insane damage, absolutely insane damage. So you gotta abuse that a little bit more. Okay, so 30 seconds, blah blah blah. Oh, they still transform. Okay, yeah, 100%. Use Manta. See, now it's at 45 seconds. And now these illusions do less damage too. Here, let's make a dummy target. Here's the damage. Hitting for about 70. This is my ranged illusions. Whereas if I do this, actually I have to wait until this runs out, I think. Can I... thought there's no restart. We'll just do it like this. So that was about 70 damage, level 25 with just Manta for your illusions. Whereas if we do it again with the melee version, not only will your Manta be on a 30-second cooldown instead, but it's also going to do more damage, and we'll see exactly how much. So I'm going to use dummy target. I will do this. Now transform. All right, see how much they do now. 82. So pretty big. It's what? It's like 11 more damage. That's like a 15% damage increase. It's pretty freaking huge for all of your illusions. Let's see how much this one does. It's about 150. But those do the same no matter what. So yeah, absolutely worth it. And then 70, yeah. So always use Manta in melee form if you can. Something I forget a lot too, but it's really important. Lowers cooldown, all that good stuff. Very good DPS. Okay, thanks for signing up for coaching. I hope you learned a lot. I think you have a lot of potential with your farming speed, but just really diversifying the jungle. It's so important. Understand when your hero's strong, and definitely fix your itemization issues. These should be your boots, basically. This should be your early game with like a quelling blade and maybe like a TP and a stout. Some games, if you're contested, you might want a poor man's. This is like your typical early game Terrorblade build, and then I would probably sell this and start buying Skadi. Buy Skadi items. This should be your next items. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot Dragonlance. Throw a Dragonlance. Some players are skipping this, by the way, lately. Then the next move is you either drop Town Portal, might be the thing to do, or I sort of feel like having Quelling Blade, no matter what, is going to be better, just because it does so much more damage. Like here, let's demo this. Serious. I don't know if these count or not, but it's about 68. What if we drop this? Did that go up? Or is that the same? 67. Alright, I think that's a hero-based unit is why. We'll have to test it on a creep here. So there's a range creep. 93, okay. Need a range creep. Shit, I didn't see what that said. Other one was 93. Gotta wait for creep to spawn. 93, 93. My god, that is so much. 68 versus 93. That's like 225 damage. Yeah, I mean, it's 40%, right? That's what we know. So 40% damage increase you're losing. That means that while you're doing split farming, just like running places and being like, all of these do 40% more damage. You just don't pass up the Quelling Blade, honestly. And you definitely hold it, I think, at least until Aquila drops. So maybe you do something like this. Drop TP and get Skadi. This might be good for split pushing, or I would probably drop Aquila over it. Because definitely it does way more with the Quelling Blade. That's a 40% increase, whereas this makes your illusions do 9 more damage, but it's reduced to 60 to 6 here. It does give them armor. That part's pretty good. Like all of these have Aquila Aura right now because your illusion has it. So in a lot of ways, Aquila is also pretty important, but those are the kind of little mechanics things. You got to keep Quelling Blade for a long time. I think that whenever Envy plays Soul Mid, he always goes Iron Talon as well. So maybe consider getting an Iron Talon, maybe. But minimum hold your Quelling Blade way longer than you did. You could have really increased your farm levels in jungle. Okay, thanks for signing up for the coaching. I appreciate it, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye.